Thanks for locking in with 77 Flavors of Chicago. We're your host, Dario.
And I'm Sarah, and I hope you're ready to learn with us.
Yo, we talking about Beyond Closure, a documentary about 50 schools that closed in Chicago 2013.
Well, we're talking, the documentary is...
We're talking two, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me finish mine.
Okay, yeah, but go ahead, partner.
The documentary is about the 10 years from then. So it's not necessarily about the closure. It's about what happened since.
Yep. That's my baby over there. That's my baby. How y'all doing?
Welcome back to your favorite podcast. Duh.
Favorite podcast. We put y'all on.
You know?
Since 2021. I almost forgot.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We're about to celebrate 4
4
years in 2 months.
That's crazy. Did you ever think you would be doing this for 2 years? A podcast, a legit podcast.
It's been 4. So
4 years. That's what I meant.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't. But I knew I would be a yapster. I just didn't know in what capacity.
Yeah, you're definitely a yapster.
Wow. So are you.
Me too. I know.
You talk to yourself.
I ain't even got nothing. I do be talking to myself,
You
but
talk to anything and anybody.
But most black people got music playing in their head anyway.
Okay.
That's why we got rhythm.
Well, that's different. I feel.
Right? You said that's not a crazy thing. That's what.
But also, you can talk to anyone, any place, at any time.
Talk that talk.
I could sit you in front of a wall, and you could be like, "What do you want to learn about today?"
I'd be putting the walls on bricks onto themselves.
Like, did you know that you're called the Chicago Common Brick? But you didn't know that.
That's crazy.
I
would.
Brick gets all introspective. And,
Yeah, right. Damn, I can't believe my people being sold like that.
And then the brick goes through an existential crisis.
I know. Then I go through existential crisis.
And the buildings start to collapse because they're like, common.
Comment.
So basic?
You're damn. Look at you. Look at you talking to yourself.
I do have a ton of dissociative narratives that go on in my brain. I do wander off a lot. And that's why when you're like, you don't remember? And I'm like, I probably was listening, but then you said something that triggered a thought in my brain and it just like escaped. Like
You
my
kind of
brain
do that
just,
a lot though.
I do.
Yeah, I'm glad you admit that. To the people.
Watch your mouth.
No, I'm not. You said it. I'm just.
But you just don't listen, period.
That's false as hell. You know.
Really? What do we have to do tomorrow?
What do you mean? What we got to do tomorrow?
What's on our schedule for tomorrow?
We got flyover.
What?
Flyover. You heard me.
Yeah. Lava. I'm like.
Now you come.
Anyway.
Now you can. When your boy right, you be coming for your boy's black dialect.
don't.
You said not on this podcast.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't play with me. Don't do that. All right. You know I'm a jokester, y'all. Anyway.
You are a jokester. How's your week?
You know it's been a rough week. I feel like
you haven't had a good week.
It's like I have a good week.
I think because you keep talking about it being hard, it just doesn't get better. You need to escape this mindset.
Okay, well, let me break this down for y'all. It's like I ain't like bad. Like it ain't like your boy is depressed bad. You know what I'm saying? It's just I had this nagging cold. You know what I mean? Like that. It ain't no more than a common cold. Sniffly nose, common cold. We had 70-degree weather, 60-degree weather, in that one freaking snow day. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just out of commission. Not out of commission, but like it got me. You know what I'm saying? That's annoying. That's what I mean by bad, y'all. Like otherwise, had a great week. You know what I mean?
Just so you guys, if you haven't learned in the last, Dario's dramatic. So
what you mean dramatic? 2 weeks ago, I threw up on the podcast.
You did.
You know, this week here I am, just down bad again. What you mean dramatic? This is the
down
truth.
bad is an exaggeration.
It is because, well, first of all, I'm down bad, but not when I have to, when I need to be on game. Because I went through that podcast. I did it, but I was out after that.
You were.
And like right now, I'm good. Took some medicine right before I got on, blew my nose. Y'all could probably hear a little bit of sniffly.
What's the letter that changes to a B when you're sick?
What is it?
You know, like when you're congested.
A D. Nose, N. I got to blow my nose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm good. I'm doing well.
Yeah.
You know, I just finished the winter, like the winter parks programs just ended. Mm-hmm. So I just finished my art class, which I'm really sad about. I really enjoyed that art class. But it was really far away because when I signed up for it, I signed up for we were still in at our old apartment, so I signed up for the Lincoln Park Cultural Center because that was like
minutes
by
away.
Our place. Mm-hmm. And we moved before the set. Like our moving day was the first day of the session.
Yeah, you didn't even really do a whole bunch with that. You missed quite a few.
No, I only missed 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
But it's short. This one, the winter is only 9 weeks. The fall is 13, which is when I did ceramics. So I loved my instructor. She was really, really cool. But I decided to take classes at the park that's closer to us. And so I'm going to try it out. And I told her, if I don't like the instructor and I don't like the class, I will be coming back. I will make the trek. She lives in Hegwish. So like she comes all the way from Hegwish to teach at Lincoln Park.
At night? I mean,
no,
after,
not at night.
Oh,
the park closes at 6.
No, I'm talking about like, what time is the class? 12?
12.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That's still crazy though.
Yeah, but she's there all day. So.
Damn.
And then she leaves at the end at 6, I think.
In the summertime, she probably, boy, that's crazy. You're going down to Hegwish and coming up. All right, not too bad.
She takes public transit. No, she drives.
Damn.
But it's long. It's a long commute. So I'm like, if she can do that, I could go to Lincoln Park.
And you know what's crazy is Hegwish is still Chicago.
It is.
That shit just feel far as hell.
It is far as hell. It's like the southernmost tip. Not like it is, literally.
Let's go.
So, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the spring classes to start. I'm doing Pilates and
you locked in too, boy. Yo, that shit look good up there.
Yeah, I finished my piece and my instructor framed it for me, and it's already hung up on our wall.
Go crazy. Go crazy.
I'm really excited. I feel like life is more enjoyable when you have like little hobbies.
What's your favorite hobby that you do though? You got like a million.
It's really hard to pick one. I feel like
you have to pick one right now. That's the end. That's the only thing you can do for the rest of the year.
I'd probably say knitting, only because I love the ladies that I knit with so much. I see them more than I like. Other than you, they are the next group of people that I see the most. I see them twice a week, and so
that's twice a week.
Yeah, Friday morning and Tuesday evening.
God damn.
I don't go every Friday, but some Fridays I go.
It's cool. They listen to the podcast too, don't they?
They do listen to the podcast.
What's up, y'all? I ain't never said nothing to y'all.
And they follow us on Instagram. They interact with our stuff all the time. They're wonderful. So I just feel like they're my besties. And I like going to.
We'll give you and them a coin.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta share that.
That would be my pick. Okay. Even though I've kind of been slacking on the knitting just because I haven't had time, because your girl's back in the office 4 days a week, which sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
So I haven't had time to like knit because I come home and I have to like make my lunch for the morning and shower and like doom scroll. No,
I mean,
take the dog out. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we have events and stuff, so like I haven't had as much time to be.
It's worse if I go.
Oh yeah, it's super bad if you're gone at night, because then I have to like
everything.
Yeah, I have to take Campbell out, like make dinner. I don't know. By the time like I get home, I'm just tired. People are draining. Not that like I don't like anyone that I work with. They're fine, but I just
you better than me.
I just don't enjoy being in an office.
No, it's pointless too.
Like that's it. I'm a corporate girly that does not like being a corporate girly. That is not.
You're trying to be outside.
I'm trying to be outside. Yeah. I want to be in a park, and I want to like hang out with my dog. I want to hang out with you.
Speaking of outside, do you think we are out of the woods?
No, absolutely not. I think people are ignorant and and stupid, because this is every year. Are we joking? Let's all go back and listen to the March 20th episode, which is March 20th is the first day of spring. Let's go back and listen to the episode around that date for the last 4 years and see how dumb all of you were thinking we were out of the woods. It's about to snow in April. I know it.
I mean,
it snowed today.
I mean, but like, check it out. This might be the last one, though.
No, it's not.
Here's the thing. We got a whole nother week.
Who said Chicago always does this? That we get the fake spring and then we get it like exits the winter on a dramatic note.
But I think I'm all right. I'm gonna go rogue on the thought process. I think we are out of the woods.
I don't think so.
I think so. I'm taking it into consideration. This was a very random snowfall. Okay.
I would say that it's 70-degree weather was random.
Look at you. Always doing that on the podcast.
No.
Boy, you just be all the time. You said
You're not that sick, huh?
Yeah. No, I'm good. But
the attitude's still there.
wow. But no, I think we out of the woods.
We're not.
I think so. Y'all,
How much you want to bet? $5?
Let's do it.
Do it.
No.
You know what I want to bet?
Let's spice this shit up.
Spice it up.
Yeah.
Farmer's market, coffee shop.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Farmer's market, coffee shop, Whole Foods.
In the same day?
Same morning.
What?
Okay. We leave the house at 7. Mm-hmm. No, I want to be at the farmer's market at 7.
No, your ass don't even be up.
Here's the thing. No, false.
You don't.
When Green City Market opens, what do you mean? I'm up at 6 every morning.
Your ass been snoring past 7:30.
That's not true.
This weekend?
I leave for work at 7:15.
I'm talking about this weekend. The farmer's market's on the weekend.
I overslept on purpose.
Yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying. You think you go get up
snoring in bed anyway? That's not the fucking point.
Damn. Okay.
Stop
Language
for a second. The point is,
okay,
I want to be at Green City at 7, and then after that, I want to go get coffee and a breakfast sandwich.
Okay,
and then I want to go wrap it up at Whole Foods, and then come home. But here's the thing: not only are you not allowed to complain, but you got to be enthusiastic about the experience. That's my bet. Okay, what's your bet?
All right. So I want to go. You got to go with me to Dot.
Okay.
We're gonna spend however long I got to spend there.
It's gonna be 5 hours in there.
You got to do that. Then you're gonna go with me to Riccabini's.
Oh! I was like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna go to Riccabini's, and then
I've never been.
I know that. So this is what we're gonna do, and then I don't really do much actually.
And you said we're gonna sit at home and nobody gonna.
Yeah, I was about to
nobody talks to me. I'm gonna listen to my records and look out the window.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Damn,
you said,
I ain't
don't
really
say
got
shit to me.
I ain't really got shit that annoy you though. Not that the other shit. Wow. First, boy, you acting different this one.
I didn't even say anything. I'm just laughing at the general idea.
Anyway, what's the thing that you wouldn't favor doing? I need one more thing.
I love hanging out with you, so anything I'm down. I'm just saying. I'm being honest.
You don't like everything.
No, I do.
I mean,
I'm very flexible. I'm very easygoing. Anyway, I'm super easygoing.
Okay.
There isn't anything that I'm like.
That's true.
That sucks. Like I don't want to do that.
You know you don't want to be going to die though.
But I don't mind it. Like I don't ever complain when we go.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Be more like me.
God
forbid we go out the way half a mile to get a cup of coffee.
No. See, you be like going out the door, out the way. Out the way. You go out.
But who cares? Life is short. Life is short. Enjoy it.
I'm 40. I'm at the halfway point.
You're not.
Right. I'm about to live 200. So
you never know.
You never know.
There's this guy that is a biohacker who thinks that death is not inevitable.
You know they found the chromosome. I mean, whatever it is, the atom that make you still kind of be alive. They could maybe revive you. You know they found that.
I don't.
Did you hear they froze light?
How do you freeze light?
Some people overseas did it.
Anyway,
scientists.
Let's get into this episode.
No, we got to talk about that real quick. They froze light.
I don't even.
You
know
hear me?
No, I don't. It's a wave. I don't.
No. Light is a beam. First of all, it's like a straight line.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they froze it. It looked like a big starburst, and they froze it.
And
you know what that means?
No, I don't know what that means.
It means that we could probably, if you could freeze light. I mean, we might be able to have, them light bridges in video games and shit like that.
Stop it.
The thing that Thor be walking across. We might be able to do that.
For what?
Why not?
For what?
Who knows?
I need people to pick up physical books and just get off the internet.
What you mean?
Get off the internet.
No, man. You be on TikTok. You're right. Let's get into this episode before we start beefing.
This was a really cool episode. A few months ago, I would say now at this point, we went to see the showing of the film Beyond Closure, which tells the story of 3 schools or 3 buildings that were once schools that were part of the 50 schools that shut down in 2013, which were absolutely devastating. I wasn't there at the time, so it was like very eye-opening for me to watch this film. And it was, I mean, you remember it happening.
Yeah.
And it was just like, of course, I know that it happened, but I just did not know the details, which we'll talk about in the interview. So we got the opportunity to speak to two people that were very close to the project, that filmed the project over the last 7 years and turned it into this film. And they were very cool people.
Very cool.
They work on a lot of really cool projects, and this is just one of them.
And this one was particularly cool just because, first of all, the film, you got to go see the film. But the film highlights 3 of the schools: Wood, Overton, and Emmett, and on the west side. And so Wood is in Inglewood, and Overton is in Bronzeville.
Yeah.
So we did this interview in front of Overton, or in Overton.
They're like playground,
which is being renovated and things like that. And we spoke to him, and it was really cool. This was our second time. It was cool because the first time we were there, we didn't do it for an episode of ours.
We were shooting content for something else.
Yeah, and so we were inside of it.
Right, we were in their gymnasium.
Yeah, and man, I mean, it's really cool to kind of see kind of the progress that they made. Not too much going on with the building itself because that's still...
Well, they're about to start renovations right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so
this year.
That's happening. So that didn't change. But it's crazy for us to see how the playground area, at first it was just the community area, kind of like set up a community garden, set up a little bit different. They still have a community garden, but they have the mural of the Chicago map painted on the ground. But then they also have a list of all 50 schools that were closed in 2013.
Yeah.
So
it's really cool. It's really beautiful. And we talked about it in the interview, but they often have events and, the community garden is open to the community. People can come and pick vegetables, and they have markets and stuff. It's a really cool activation in the space.
Yeah.
So
it's a beautiful day outside too. Sunny as hell.
It was
hot. Hot.
It wasn't hot.
It was hot shit. You wasn't hot.
No.
Come on now.
It was warm, but it wasn't like
I was burning up. Burning up. That's probably where I got the cold from. Maybe. Being over hot and then getting cool. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and listen to the episode. And y'all, appreciate y'all for tuning in another week.
So I'm Erin Babin. This is Michael Sullivan, and together we're On the Reel Film. We are a video and photo production company, started in 2011. We make a lot of documentary films, telling stories of everyday heroes. And yeah, we make photos and pictures and keep it real.
I'm going to say it again. I didn't see that one coming. It makes so much sense.
Yeah, that's cool. Is that how you came up with the name? Is it because...
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I came up with the name actually when I was in film school. I knew I wanted to start my own documentary production company. We didn't actually know each other yet. And I just remembered this phrase growing up in Chicago. Everyone would be like, on the reel.
On the reel.
And on the reel, it meant like, this is really true. Yeah.
Right.
This is, like on the reel, on the reel. And then there's this like play with words because there's
real,
on the reel, R-E-E-L,
oh my God.
which, there was no TikTok back then. It was literally the reels of film.
Actual reel.
Right. And so there is a lot of times where people are like, writing an email and being like, we want to talk to your company on the R-E-E-L, but it's all good.
That's funny.
That was the play on words.
I love that.
That's dope.
Cool,
that's really
cool
dope.
Yeah. So today we're at Overton, and the reason we learned about you guys is because we watched the film that came out not too long ago about the school closures in Chicago that happened a while back. But tell us a little bit about the film and why we're at Overton specifically.
Sure. So we wanted to talk about our film Beyond Closure and this location because this is where it started for us. So about 6 or 7 years ago, we started working with Borderless Studio and Paula Aguirre, and she was trying to find ways to activate and sort of like redesign and like bring art and artists and architects into these spaces because there was this whole story about the closed schools. And so she tapped us to begin documenting those processes. So they would bring artists and the Architecture Biennial and different groups to come and do art projects. They painted this really big, beautiful map on the pavement to show the impact of those school closures that happened in 2013 in Chicago. And so it was her really trying to use the space with the blessing of the owners of the building, which is Guillaume Foreman and Washington Park Development Group. So, and he's been really supportive. And so over the years, we were documenting that process of them using the space and trying to reactivate it and bring community into essentially an abandoned place, right? And then at a certain point, we decided together, after collaborating for so long, like we should make this into like a proper film and like really tell a story, and then also speak about the other schools besides Overton that were part of that 50 schools that closed in 2013.
What challenges did you face when you kind of made that decision to, all right, this needs to be a film? Like, what was that?
Yeah, how do you edit down 7 years of
stuff? Like, how did you get to that point where you're like, we could do this now? You know?
Yeah, totally.
Well, I think one of the key points was that we were having this conversation around 2023. Like, that was when
recently.
So 10 years ago, or 10 years had passed since 2013, and we were like, what happens in a decade? You know, so let's look at this and talk about, like, we are all really deeply embedded in the work that's happening here at Overton. We know the challenges of what it takes to repurpose a school firsthand through Guion. And we knew other organizations and had been working with other organizations like Austin Coming Together to make the Aspire Center. And we knew this was like a really long process. And we were like, we should tell these stories. We should show how difficult it is to repurpose a school so that everybody can understand what's happening with our like assets that belong to everyone, and to like bring light to these challenges, to talk about like what's coming for the future, what's going to happen with if there are more school closures in Chicago. Like, let's take a look back before we move forward and make any crazy choices.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, you in the film, you documented 3 schools. Do you have any other ones that you kind of like did and kind of narrow that down, or like how did that process to pick these? What is it? Emmett Wood and Overton.
Overton, yeah. So the 3 were chosen based on a number of factors. Some of it was based on Paula, who also became the executive producer of the film, whether she had relationships with certain people that we could get access to those stories and to those spaces. But also, the 3 of them sort of showcase that even after 10 years, that these projects are all at different stages. So Overton's somewhere in the middle, right? They're sort of beginning construction, they're beginning to renovate and to rehabilitate the space. Woods, which is in Inglewood, which is being spearheaded by Iman and Rage. And they are sort of earlier in the stage of redevelopment in the sense that they have the plans, they have the structure, but they don't have complete ownership of the building yet. So they're still really early in that, what will eventually happen with it. And then Aspire in Austin, which is the former Emmett School, that one's way closer. They're about to be open. They're about to be
this year.
Yeah, they're going to finish and reopen this spring, I believe, is the plan.
That's
so we wanted that scale from like early stages to almost finished to finished.
I feel like this story is super personal to Chicago, but as someone that was not here when this happened, so I didn't go to school here, so like for me when I was watching the film, I was like the things that kind of it brought up for me was, one, the importance of like community and education and like all of these elements that could really be reality anywhere. It just happened to be, it happened in the 3rd largest city in the country, and it affected predominantly Black and brown folks that lived in these communities. So for someone that's watching this that's not necessarily familiar with the story or doesn't know, 50 schools just suddenly closed, right? The community kind of, what I learned was, which is super interesting, is they would go to the hearings, and then it was a portion where they would like name I forgot what you called it, but it was like a set of numbers, and they would just vote on it, and people wouldn't know what was going on. So kind of like talk a little bit about that. Like, what was that process like being there in 2013? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, we got really lucky with a lot of that footage of those early sort of moments where they were doing the votes at the community hearings and that kind of thing. Bob Hercules and his group of filmmakers were there at the time producing films and like documenting that history. And so we got to tap into that archive, which was really beautiful and allowed us to show part of that story that's really important to understand where we are, 10, 12 years later now. But that moment, I think, and it's said in the film too, is like it galvanized a lot of activists and people in the city to be like, wait, this is happening without our permission, and this is gonna do damage to our city, and we know it. And they tried really hard to stop it, and in some cases they were able to sort of slow it down or make them reconsider whether or not they close the school. But in almost 50 cases they said, this is the vote, it's done. And so then they said, oh, we're gonna have a plan, we're gonna we're going to have ways of using these spaces, and the plan ended up being not a plan, nothing, basically. They had ideas, but never any follow through.
Right.
The schools were supposed to be maintained and taken care of by CPS, which they did to a point, maybe a year or two, depending on the building. And then since then, the abandoned schools are just abandoned. They're not cared for, they're not kept up.
And the fight to, like, in the case of Wood, trying to, like, get that ownership over because nobody else is doing is. So my question, another question is, so there's a lot of emotion. Obviously, emotion is driving this film, right? There's this pure emotion behind all of it. How do you hone which emotions that you put on the screen and personal emotion, you know, being from Chicago, to, like, tell a story without it just being a point finger bash, even though it really is, but how do you control all that? It's a lot.
Yeah, well, I think it was really important to us, like, the school closures impacted real lives, like students and teachers and communities, and it's still, and it's one of our values in storytelling is to, like, not just have pornographic grief, right? Like, not to pull open a wound and pour salt into it. And so we were really intentional about the way that we wanted to tell this story. This is not a film about the school closures. This is a film about what happened 10 years after the schools closed, but we of course had to kind of review what happened for anyone who might be less familiar, and just that's part of the full story. And so I think that is, like, that has been such an important piece for us as we move forward, is, like, what is important emotionally is the impact this has had on a community 10 years later. What is an empty building on your block doing to property value, doing to community, doing to crime rates? And how can we change that as a community coming together, you know?
Yeah, I really feel like it's like I left the film very hopeful, and I feel like I went in, and in the beginning I was like, oh my God, like I knew a lot of the details, but I've never seen footage of, like, the hearings. So it was really, like, kind of shocking. And then, but seeing regular folks that, like, care about their community being like, this is not okay, like, we have to do something, we've seen a lot over the last few years, especially an organization as impactful and large as Rage specifically. Like, we're very familiar with the work that they've done. And Austin, I mean, we've been over there many times. Their urban farms and, like, all of that stuff. So it was super hopeful to watch, but again, it's, like, really hard to complete these projects. And I feel like, how do you tell a story? Like, how do you give people hope, but also manage expectations? You know what I mean? Like, if an average person is watching this and was like, there is an empty building on my block, like, I do want to do something about this, it's almost very overwhelming to, like, not know where to start.
Right. Well, I think personally, I'm like, well, there's a systemic problem here, which is that we need more city support for projects like this. We need more funding for projects like this. And I feel like with Beyond Closure, we're really trying to show that. We're not trying to say this is going to be a walk in the park, right? Like, we show that people are really struggling in the process of redeveloping schools. And also, we show how much it means to people, like how much it means to have a thriving community center that community was involved in from day one in your own neighborhood. And so I think, if anything, I hope, like, when we were making this film, the thing that kept coming up to me was, I was like, the city needs to create a program that you can go through that is like, I'd like to become a developer in my community. I'd like to, a collective kind of process. Like, what changes could this film hopefully make so that it doesn't have to be so heartbreaking to do this project?
Yeah, and the hope side of it is really just, all these interviews that we did with these community members and leaders who are doing this work.
It's like incredible people.
Like, they have that optimism. And that's really what brings it out, is, like, to be able to work on a project for some of these people 7, 8, 9 years that they're, like, just day in and day out trying to, like, talk to whoever they can talk to, have whatever meetings, try to fundraise every penny to make it work. It's like, you have to have hope to spend that long and to make it happen.
I love that.
I think the cool thing about today's time with documentation is that history is really repeating itself, right? We've been down the road with, let's talk about South Shore Community Center, right? Way back in the day, it was the community who kept that thing from getting crushed, even though it had every reason to be torn down, right? It was a very problematic place.
But look at it now.
But look at it now, exactly. And so I think now it's harder for city officials and government to kind of mask what we've documented, right? Because now we can have our cameras and say, hey, here's this building right here, and here's the community that's actually doing something about it, and you all want to paint the picture that this is a bad and that actually the narrative was that it was overcrowded and the space or the space wasn't being filled, you know, it wasn't enough students. You know, don't feed us that line of crap because like here's the people in this community area right now that are making it work, right? And so I think that's the importance of having something like this, because I feel like it's going to go down as one of those things that we talk about and reference a long time from now. Even this, you know what I mean? Because everybody's going to hear, you know, what it took to make something like this.
So we're sitting at Overton. It's very colorful. There's art everywhere. There's murals. There's a community garden. Tell us a little bit about like what a space like this is doing today.
Do you mean like what's actually happening
like what's actually happening at Overton? Like,
so in the summer we have a series of events here. They're like activations. So it's changed a lot over the years, right? I always think that we had this big turning point during the pandemic. So before that we were inside the building a lot. We would have art galleries. We would have like people cross collaborating to make anything responding to the closed schools. And then 2020 hit and all the grocery stores around here closed.
Right.
And
we couldn't do, you know, Borderless leading the way, we couldn't do projects inside the building because it wasn't safe.
Right.
We literally couldn't bring people and gather them in a closed space.
Right.
So Glendon's Green, who's always been a big supporter of everything happening here at Overton, Bronzeville resident, and Paola came together and started a food pantry. And I was like, hey, I'm out of work. I'm
Sign me
coming.
up,
And so I ended up managing the pantry, just coming every day.
That's amazing.
And it was such a cool project, you know.
Yeah.
Ended up becoming this thing called the Southside Food Distribution Network. We worked with a number of Southside organizations. We got so many fabulous donations. Like, it was a really great moment in time for us here. And then the next summer we were like, that was great. What else can we do to sort of continue that momentum without the sort of daily labor? People have work again. And also, like, there's some environmental things that are not so great about a food pantry. There's a lot of waste, you know, there were things we were up against. And so I have been a gardener for a long time, community gardener at El Paseo Community Garden in Pilsen, and was like, oh, we should start a food garden, you know, here, and the neighbors can come and they can grow their food. And as you guys mentioned, you came here, there were a couple of big apple crates. Me and this wonderful human named Cosmos were out here.
We probably ran into you.
Right.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
It looks, I mean, it looks phenomenal now. There's like multiple raised beds. It just looks, it looks really.
I think the coolest thing about like being out here, and this is exactly why we do the podcast and we love being outdoors on locations, because it immediately changes that narrative, right? Totally. You know what I mean? Like we're out here in a place that's supposed to be scary, right? And it's not. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we got literally almost every nationality represented right here. You know, like and nothing is wrong. You know what I mean? And I think when you look at something like this, you know, 2 years ago we were here. I mean, the improvements, you know, and people wouldn't see those improvements. They would still see something that's like a blank canvas, but it's not a blank canvas. It wasn't a blank canvas 2 years ago, you know? And so I think that's the really cool thing about, like, this is nice. This is nice.
Yeah, it was all redone last summer, you know? I mean, I think that's such part of the trajectory, right? We were doing mutual aid events here. We were doing, like, having readers, and then that programming continued to shift. And then all of a sudden we had, like, 7 years of documentation of the work we'd been doing. And Paola Aguirre is just this absolutely amazing organizer, and she's one of these people that everyone meets, and they're like, I want to come help do the thing you're doing, you know? And so then all of a sudden we were winning some awards and some grants, like, led by her completely. And she's also, mind you, the person who on day one was out here painting this first map by herself. You know, like, there weren't a lot of people, this wasn't a thing back then. And she was like, oh no, we need to make a map of the closed schools. So I would say that she then was able to raise the money to do all of these big, you know, structural changes. So now there's all new blacktop, new garden beds, new tables.
Yeah, those weren't here. Like, I don't think benches were here when we came last. This, like, whole area wasn't done.
All of this has been redone. We did a ribbon cutting last summer that I think that's in the film. As, you know, Overton is getting ready to be under construction.
I love that.
I was gonna say this building. I mean, the first time I saw
so
Overton,
beautiful.
I was like,
It's
they
a really
took this
cool
down.
thing.
If I had this as a high school, like this is it's a very nice school. You know what I mean? Like
super
it's
nice.
very nice. And inside, I wish we could go inside and still had that. But like the murals that were are they still there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean, like the murals work that is there, superheroes and everything. It's just fantastic.
It's really cool. For anyone that wants to watch the film that is in Chicago, where can they watch? And can they watch it online? Is that an option?
It's
too?
not online yet, but there are 3 upcoming screenings that are happening, 2 this week and 1 in April. So on March 13th, this Thursday, there is a screening at IIT at 6 p.m. On March 14th, this Friday, there's a screening at UIC at 4 p.m. And then for the Chicago Humanities Festival, we'll be screening April 27th.
Oh,
those
hey, look,
details will be available.
no excuses. I don't care. This is out on Monday. You got a few days to go see the ones this week, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. It's definitely worth every bit
Oh
of
no!
time.
By the time this is out, the ones Monday, Friday, the 13th.
Oh, that's right.
Would it
Yeah,
be
you my
better-
bad. You off the
would it
hook.
be better If I just said April.
No, it's not. I'm not. No, we're good. We're good. Shit. This is a real. You know, like this, on the real. You know.
I will just shout out that if you want more information or to RSVP to any screenings, beyondclosurefilm.com/screenings will get you there.
What's next for you all? What are you all?
What's
gonna,
on the reel
What
doing
story
next?
are y'all telling next? If you could tell us.
Yeah, we are starting our next big project amongst a bunch of small things floating around. Our next big one is we're co-directing and co-producing another feature film that's going to be with Ronaldo Hudson, and he's going to help us co-direct it and produce it, and it's his life story. And so it's going to be a really cool look into the criminal justice system, but also art. He's a really wonderful artist and an activist, and talking about ending the death penalty, talking about mass incarceration in the country, talking about really somebody who grew up in Chicago with less advantages, went through that whole system, came out the other side after 37 years incarcerated, and is just pure love.
That's amazing. I just got goosebumps. I can't
He's
wait.
he's like everything he says, it's like listening to a poet speak,
Wow.
you know, even just having a regular conversation. So it's like he's one of these people that really inspires a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the way the politics is going nowadays, it's like I think about, you know, looking at our country, like,
Right.
man, like sometimes I just feel like really, you know,
Hopeless.
kind of depressed about it.
Yeah.
And then I think, well, if Ronaldo could get through the stuff that he's been through,
Yeah.
like I can really like,
Yeah.
you know, so we're working on this project with him. He's going to be, it's his life story. And so we wanted to bring that partnership together and make it a collaboration. And like, he's the co-director of his story and he's the owner of his story, you know? And so that's the next big project for us.
That's amazing. I can't wait for that. I feel like if we've learned one thing when we look at things in retrospect is that having community around you is really super important. And we talk about like the current state of politics a lot, but I feel like if you just shut off your phone and go build community around you and support the people around you that need it, and come to your community garden and go to your local events and participate in your local politics so you can start to make a little bit of change, a little bit of a time, maybe we won't be here in 4 years.
Well, hopefully we are with a better, you know.
Right. We won't be in the same state. In 4 years it'll be different.
Right. Another 50 schools shut down.
No,
we don't
we don't want
No.
that.
I was thinking that when you all were talking about inspiration, and I was thinking like, we're not inspired. Maybe the film is inspiring to people, but like the inspiration comes from the people that are in this film. The
Right.
inspiration comes from these everyday heroes who are like doing this work.
Right.
I'm inspired. Like
Yeah.
when I'm helping them to tell their own story, I'm like, oh wow, this is incredible. What am I upset about?
Yeah.
Right.
Like if you can do this, we
Right.
can all do something.
Right.
I agree.
That's very
That's
true.
amazing. Well, great soundbite to end
Yeah,
on.
for real.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
we-
you so
we
much.
love that.
Yeah, this was amazing.
Thank you.
No problem. Hey, we'll see the next one too.
Yeah, I can't wait.
We'll
That'll
keep you
be so
posted.
good.
All right, thank you so much for listening to that interview. I know we don't have these as often anymore, so it's always really special when we have guests on here. We loved the film. We loved seeing them. So if you do have an opportunity to go and check out a screening, please do so.
Yeah, your boy was wrong about the time frame there. So it's all good. Y'all can find out.
We'll link the website in the show notes, so you can go ahead and click that and see when
can
the
find
next. You don't want to link it in the show notes?
No. I'm saying like next time they can find this. Yeah. See, y'all figure out the website too. Shit.
But yeah, that's all we got for you today. So if you did enjoy this episode, please share it with someone you love. It is the best way to support us. We do this for free 99.
Free 99.
So you sharing our content is critical.
It's vital to us.
It's vital to us. And if you did not enjoy this episode, that's all right. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode, and check back on Thursday for a throwback. We'll see you then. Peace. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we hope you loved it.
And if you could, please follow us on social media at 77 Flavors Shy on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter.
If you have any ideas or deep dives that you'd love us to do, please contact us at media@77flavorsshy. That's the number 77 flavors and shy for Chicago.com.
If you like visuals, please subscribe and follow and watch us on our YouTube channel at the same thing, 77 Flavors Shy, or search 77 Flavors of Chicago.
If you would like to support us monetarily, go ahead and click that Buzzsprout link in the description of this episode.
And as always, we gonna see you next week. Peace.